Make sure to follow me on Rumble, whatever that is. We're posting the show there now, too, and it'll be great. Happy Filthy Monday to you folks. Got a great show for you today. A friend of mine, a great comic, the very funny Dave Landau is on the show. And he's one of the, look, he's a sidekick to Crowder. He was on Comia, Last Comic Standing, Comedy Central special. Just a funny dude, just naturally funny. Here's a little bit of his work.
I'm actually married myself. I just celebrated my 4-year wedding anniversary, which is kind of exciting, and thank you. It's a good anniversary. I gave her diamond earrings. She gave me a homemade coupon for sex that expired in June of '07. Maybe next year I'll get a DeLorean time machine. It's me from the future. Lay down now. I'll tell you what sucks, too, the most about homemade sex coupons, and that's that they're only redeemable at her store. I mean, that's not fair. Like, this is a gift. Let me shop around, you know what I mean? Little buy one, get one. BOGO.
Welcome to very funny Dave Landau. How are you, David?
Good, sir. How about you? It's been a while.
I am hanging in there, yes. But thank you for doing this, man. One of the best comics around, no doubt about it. And
thanks, man.
Before I noticed the Lions hat right away. And
it's the first time I've not been ashamed to wear it ever.
I was going to say, when's the last time you put that on? When Alex Karras retired?
Yes, back. I believe when Barry Bonds would be responsible for any touchdown in a losing game.
Wait a minute, Barry Bonds or Barry
Sanders. Why did I say Bonds?
I didn't know you were.
We forget our good players.
Hey, that's all right. Gay guys don't know a lot about sports. No problem. Listen.
It happens. You get so much dick in your face, you just forget.
Let me just say something. Barry Bonds could have been a running back in the NFL, by the way.
Yeah, well, it's definitely for the Lions.
Well, guy was what, 5'9", 260 with no fat on him? That fucking hat kept growing. I was going to say, though, the Lions, let me say, I'm in a pool, which is a very faggy thing to say. Hey, excuse me, Dallas, can you put the clock where I can see it? Keep going. Fuck it. Don't stop this is how we do shit here. It's why it's 143rd out of 300 podcasts in the Uruguay market. The Lions, let me tell you about the Lions. I'm in a football pool. They always cover for me. They've been good to me every year. And so what do I do last week against the Vikings? I go against them. And they stuck it right up my ass. Let me tell you something. They are going to be a problem for teams next year. Or maybe this year. What do you think?
I think that we actually have a shot. I think Dan Campbell is the reason why they're doing good, honestly. I like Jim Caldwell. I actually got to meet him, and
you did?
He was good. He was a good coach, but Dan Campbell just I don't know, did you see any of the HBO series on it?
I did not. I was watching a lot of porn that time, and I was in rehab.
I understand. Oh. Yeah, well, White Orchid's on. You know, you don't want to miss it.
I keep hearing that
or
name
White
of
Lotus or whatever.
Yeah, White Orchid. So we have Barry Bonds running back
and White Orchid
and White Skunk Cabbage.
That's how I do comedy. I make half references.
Yeah, so no, but I know I'm familiar with Dan Campbell's work.
But Dan Campbell had him. What he did was he had him practicing in actual full-on pads and getting them to just beat the hell out of each other, which they had never done before. They'd never even thought about it. And there's this great training facility in Michigan that they have, and it was amazing to watch because they were just doing it harder than they ever had before.
Really?
And just seeing the psychopath, because the way he screams at him and just talks about destroying the other team and eating them alive, and he's just intense. And I think he's just what they need. And then you have like, is it Ragnow's back, Sewell? I mean, you just have these really good players, and I think we actually have a chance. I don't know about a Super Bowl, but we might get near it one day in my life.
Well, yeah, baby steps. See if we can get in the playoffs this year. They put up points against everybody. Was Dan Campbell the last time the Lions practiced in pads, I think George Plimpton suffered a concussion.
Correct. They had leather helmets.
Do you remember? I don't even know how old Dave is. I'm probably doing references that are way too old. But you remember Plimpton, right? When he played for the Lions?
I do, though, yeah.
Yeah, you remember that whole story. For you people at home, fuck you. You don't even like George Plimpton. But he was a terrific. He could run to his right, and he's like a 110-year-old author. But no, they've been good to me. That's all my thing, and I'm happy for Detroit's a good sports town, man. You got to have it. I mean, the Red Wings haven't done much lately. You got to have somebody in there. The Tigers don't do much. So the Lions are way overdue.
It's kind of like when the Red Sox finally won the series. You wanted them to win.
Right.
Like, there's just a lot of people that back up the Lions, and like we had Hockey Town for a long time, which, that's one of the greatest stories ever. We had Probert. We brought
baddest
in
man
KGB soldiers from Russia.
That's right. You did.
For real.
I know. The uniforms even look like the Red Army team in Russia. You ever notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they had a guy. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
Bob Probert was the baddest fucking man. Voted the toughest guy ever to play the game. He loved his cocaine and his drugs, and he fought like he did. He was the scariest motherfucker. He's dead now, which all legends go out that way. I think they found him. I think he died in the same hotel as me. I was at a Quality Inn doing a gig in Livonia, and I think I think they found him in the next room.
It's the Bob Probert suite.
Yes, the Bob Probert suite. He was a tough and not a bad hockey player either. But yes, you guys did have your glory day with Steve Yzerman and stuff. And I didn't want to turn this into a whole sports show, but how about I got to get this in before we move on. My Bruins this year came out of the gate, like, I don't know if you followed, they're like 22-4.
Yeah.
I mean, breaking records for Boston. The Bruins were around since 1922, and they're setting all kinds of records, which nobody expected, by the way. So I know some of my gay fans right now are taking a nap. Wake up. This is good for you.
I've always loved Boston sports. My dad was in the hospital in Boston when I was a kid, and I remember I went to Fenway because the doctor gave my brother and I tickets, and I decided to wear a Tigers hat. And mind you, I'm like 16. I had never been called so many gay slurs in my life as a child.
Boston's big on the. Look at this. I can't even laugh. Look at this. Fucking.
What happened?
I have crowns here. Fucking hockey stickers.
Oh, you get Probert mouth.
I got Probert mouth. Yes, and they gave me one of these fake tooth things to pop in, like Probert would or any hockey player. But it feels like you're sucking on, like somebody said, a belt buckle. I'm trying to talk with the tooth in. I'm talking like Rich Voss. Jesus Christ. So I pull that fucker out. Now I look like I grew up here in Georgia. But anyways.
The locals still think it's the best mouth in town.
Oh, Jesus. Anyhow, I forgot to bring my plate. But where the hell were we? Moving on to, I haven't done. What? You're still with Crowder, right? You're in the seat with Crowder still?
Yeah. I'm still doing third chair over at Crowder, and it's we're I think Thursday last Thursday was our last day. I just remembered this is a different day.
Oh,
sorry. Good thing you have editors.
Oh, this is Monday. Yeah, both of us. Yeah. Happy Kwanzaa, everybody. I don't know what fucking that is.
'Tis the season.
'Tis the season to shoplift at Walmart.
Know.
What?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that is that celebrates burning down a Walgreens.
Well, that's what I said. It's very it's very rich in tradition. It goes back to the George Floyd riots of 2020. It's steeped in tradition. That's horrible. This is what you get with Dave Landau and Nick DePaul to get together. And it's why Crowder loves them in Cumia, because this is the type of talk. This is a good segue into into Twitter. And don't you love what Mr. Elon Musk is doing right now? I think he's doing God's work, or am I missing something?
No, it's the greatest. I love that he's exposing Fauci for the, millions of people that he killed.
Yeah.
You have the head of Pfizer stepping down, because we've actually looked back into everything that he said and the way that he kind of said it, where he's like, yeah, I would say that the vax people are probably fine if you think about it. I mean, in the UK variant, he's just making up variants because he doesn't know how to answer the question. Because he says, yes, he knows that he's guilty of murder. So like when you look back, it's amazing. But now now I'm actually very fearful for people that got that shot. I really am, because the amount of evidence that is pouring out. And what's fun is he's doing it in a way that he's allowing them to lie. He's allowing them to not only did he allow them to lie, but he's allowing them to now tell the truth. He's letting out little pieces of information at a time and letting them see if anybody comes clean. And they're not. And the stuff that's coming out is, I mean, I think you and I knew it.
Oh, yeah.
But the denial going on the other side is still mind-boggling.
Yes, I don't even know if you call it denial. I don't know what. It's creepy. It's creepy. I'm like, if they're just acting, if they really know they're wrong and don't believe, but nobody can act for this long and this good. Do you know what I'm saying? They must really believe the horseshit they're saying. Or do you think they know better and they're just lying through their teeth? I think they've been sort of brainwashed. I don't know. It's creepy.
I think it's brainwashed. I mean, a lot of I remember it back in high school when all my, friends that play football were having massive heart attacks, and just the blood clot issues in 30-year-olds. And, you know how it was.
Yep.
It's just what it's always been.
Right.
There's so many things that have happened now that they just refuse to look at. And you look at you have people with Bell's palsy going like, I would get the shot again. It's like, you have COVID and Bell's palsy. And you're telling me that you would get the shot again.
You just did the most subtle Bell palsy. He drooped his eye. I don't know how he did it. He's like fucking Copperfield. Your eye drooped a little. My dad got Bell's palsy. It had nothing to do with COVID. This was, 20 years ago. When he was like, I don't know, 70 or 68. And I come home and his face, and he goes, I look like, exact words, you wonder where I get my sense of humor. I look like an old Jew lawyer. What?
He got out of a parking ticket that day.
I said, Dad, you look more like Stallone in Rocky 2. He had me fucking laughing, and it popped back at the place a few days later. But yes,
that's hilarious.
Yes, he made me laugh so goddamn hard. Most people be nervous about it. He didn't fucking. My dad was a little vain like I am, but that had me cracking up. Why a Jewish lawyer, Dad? I don't know. I just thought you'd make you laugh. I brought you up hateful. No. So yeah, you're right though. Like when I was at the University of Maine, kids are half our team was shooting. Fucking anabolics in their ass. And now a lot of them, kidneys, liver, a couple of them are gone. I'm scared. I didn't get this. So obviously you didn't get the vax.
No, and I had considered it for a minute because you heard all the information. I was living at Anthony's house actually during the pandemic because we're just going to do it out of the basement instead of dealing with, everything going on in New York, just because it was getting to the point where it was just really violent right where the studio was. It was getting to be ridiculous. Like they were throwing out office furniture and there'd just be like homeless people fucking on it. And it was just like holding meetings and stuff. We were like, we'll just kind of go to the suburbs for a little bit. And so there really wasn't a reason to, but then my friends that got it kept getting COVID. And then I kept not getting COVID. And I thought, I'll just kind of stick with this plan. And I kept traveling. I flew the entire time. I went to anywhere that would book me, which was usually, like Alabama, Louisiana, Florida, and I never got it.
So you never got COVID?
No.
I got it. I've had it twice. And I'm no spring chicken, but I'm also not a black woman in her late 80s that weighs 490 pounds. Not yet.
You're not a nurse?
No, I'm trained. Yes, I got fired at the DMV. I'm transitioning. I'm going to look like fucking Warren Sapp with a wig in about a year and a half. Yeah, no, you're not a nurse. That's perfect, especially if you're down here. That's perfect. I got it, Dave. Again, this goes back to Elon Musk release, and we've turned it into but it's relative. Yeah, I got the original, not the COVID light. I got the original classic COVID. I was doing a gig in Chicago. This is right when it broke big, COVID. 2 weekends in a row, I had to connect on planes. So that meant I was on 8 different planes in 2 weekends. After the Chicago gig, I was doing Zanies out by the airport there. I shook about 300 hands after the show. Had one of my best sets ever. I must have, honestly, God, I think I met everybody in the place. Go into the green room. There's a slice of pizza left. I don't even think about it. I pick it up, eat it after I just shook 300 hands. And fucking I remember I remember getting on the plane on the way home going, oh, Jesus Christ, remembering I was sitting in the seat going, oh, fuck. I get home that night, I'm fine. I go to bed. I wake up to take a piss about 5 in the morning, as people in their late 70s will do. And I get up, I'm in my underwear. Dave, I'm going like this. My teeth are chattering. My head is soaked. You could have wrung my pillow out. My teeth are fucking banging together. I'm trying to piss. And you know when you have a wicked, everything was convulsing. And it happened the next night. And then the next day I felt 100%. But what happens is about a month after that, you get this tired that I've never felt in my friggin' life. It's the most exhausting. And so that, and then about a year later, me and my wife got it last February, end of February, we both got it. And to the point where I couldn't come in here and sit in this chair and do the fucking show. Dude, I can't imagine what it's like to have cancer and go through chemo. I've never been that drained of energy it's a whole different, but that being said, I'm still happy I didn't it didn't kill me. It was a bad flu with some blood in my stomach.
Were you
No.
Were you just like sleeping the whole time?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
But achy, you feel your aid. It was so like, I would literally go, I want to get up and get a glass of orange juice. And I'm in the living room and I'd go, fuck it.
Yeah.
And I'd fall asleep for an hour and then go, I think I have the energy to get that orange juice now. It was paralyzing. It was a different kind of tired for me. So, but you haven't even got it at all.
No, and it's like there's points where I thought I've had it and I've said it, but it was never that I had it, like for sure.
Right.
And my son had it and he couldn't feel it at all. And it was actually a trip when we were supposed to go to Disney World. And imagine telling a 6-year-old that he can't go to Disney World for a cold he can't feel. And my son is like a really well-behaved kid. And he goes, you call that doctor back and tell her it's bullshit. That's his exact words. And I was like, no, son, it's hard to explain. Like, it doesn't really affect you the same as other people. And he's like, fuck that. He's all angry. I'm like, I was crying laughing. I'm trying not to laugh because it's wrong, but it was so funny and sad. I ended up taking him, but he was so pissed. And because it was right around when this first started happening and they hadn't shut down yet. And he had got it from school and kindergarten. And I felt terrible. And and everybody around me's had it. Anthony had it when I was with him twice, I think. And he was in studio. And then Crowder's had it twice.
Is Crowder vaccinated?
I've just tested. I've never tested for it.
Is Crowder vaccinated?
What's that?
Is Crowder vaccinated?
No. And we've had raw sex 7, 8 times. And just nothing.
Hey, you got to do what you do to feed your kid. You know what I'm saying?
It's a living.
It's a living.
Like
and what else?
Flintstones bird.
About, what else about some of these other dumps? Like today, the big over the weekend. Literally like the counterintel, FBI, CIA having little chats with the executives at Twitter on what do we do about Trump? He has no real reason to kick him off Twitter. Well, let's make up something up. And they're arguing back and forth. This is bigger. I'm sick of the fucking Watergate We've had 19 things bigger than Watergate since Watergate happened. But this is rock the fucking world. And I see our new House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy. We're gonna have hearings. I don't want hearings. I want people being fucking bullwhipped in the. I want to see Hillary hung by her ankles from a Caterpillar crane like they're doing Tehran.
You would need a crane. Those are big campers.
That's right. Yeah, I want to see some action. I don't want fucking hearings that are going to result in nothing. But can you imagine not letting a former president? By the way, we're talking to the great Dave Landau, a very funny comedian who travels the country, and he's one of Crowder's sidekicks. Can you imagine if a former president and they're booting him off, yet they still have the Ayatollahs that were on Twitter, and child porn, and Ayatollahs watching child porn, all kinds of shit.
Oh, well, people pushing normalizing child pedophilia. I mean, not that needs to. That's child pedophilia is redundant, but still.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like the adult pedophilia.
But you have actual. What's sad is this. It's completely immoral that we kicked off a sitting president. I've not heard one person on the right say that Joe Biden should not be allowed to talk on any sort of.
I guess you don't watch his show, Dave.
Yeah, his own.
No, you're
his
right.
Own brain.
No, you're absolutely right. You're right.
Yeah, it's like you have, you have basically this entire. It was entirely manipulated. So you're looking at something where. It's been entirely manipulated to get him off, and then they used these things that were completely made up. They made up rules to kick a sitting president off of a platform that he was the largest person on that platform, arguably. So he wasn't able to talk to his fan base. And I mean, I really would say fan base because that's what he had. I mean, he really was a massive rock star of a president, more than we've ever seen, regardless of what anybody's politics are. And I don't care if you're on the right or left, you should be completely against, three-letter agencies ripping the president off of any social platform. That it's completely wrong. And it's like you said with Watergate. Watergate is it's quaint compared to anything that's happened in the last 30 years.
Yeah, because we're talking about a global scale here. It almost feels to me, and I hope I'm wrong, that the globalist, the die has been cast. Did I say that right, or is it the cast that died? The die has been cast. It almost feels like, I don't know, it's too late. I hope I'm wrong, but the whole world is on this this globalist socialist. I mean, I feel like you, me, 11 other people, and people who voted for Trump, are the only ones standing, between us and what Biden wants and his fucking Marxist handlers. Doesn't it feel like the rest of the world's already been suckered into that? What am I missing here?
No, I feel like it's been made up. I mean, you're looking at what people look at socialism like it's this wonderful idea and communism as if it's this good idea, and they don't realize that it's seeping in. What they don't understand is this is all about power. It's all about one person or a very small group of people getting all the power, getting all the wealth, and everybody else suffering. And I don't see how they don't understand how once we lock down America, that's the thing that scared me the most.
Right.
And I've talked about it on my show like many times. My dad died of Agent Orange because of exposure in Vietnam. Right. And the government did absolutely nothing to help my family. And that's when I learned at a very young age, okay, well, this is kind of what the government does. They don't really care. They're sort of, and you have to be aware of that. So anybody who's championing them right now, thinking that it's like this righteous, loving cause to believe in locking down, wearing masks, being compliant, doing what you're told at all costs, it's the wrong way to look at it. And it's exactly what they want you to think. They want you to think that doing all these things, it's why the right has become the counterculture. But it's also doing all these things is what's going to benefit you. Every bit of this takes away your speech and your freedoms, and I cannot grasp, and really your health, but I can't grasp how people are defending it. Well, I really don't. Even if you hate the guy,
it gives you an idea how far they have their claws into these college kids for the last I don't know how many years. I mean, college campuses is just Marxist indoctrination going on forever now. Not just when Trump showed up. And now it's really seeped in. I noticed it when comedy clubs, people say, how do you get away with what you say and stuff? Well, it used to be easy because the guys that ran the clubs thought like I did and stuff. Luckily, I don't do that much road work anymore. Now I hear about these young comedians like getting in trouble for a rape joke, and the club won't have them back because they got 3 emails. And the people who run the clubs, the people that are in management, are part of the crowd that grew up with this PC horseshit and actually believe in it. Luckily or unluckily, I'm at the age where I don't have to deal with too much of this anymore. But have you found that? I mean, I heard a few young comics, Kurt Metzger got in a lot of trouble for whatever, guys that I like that push the envelope and are very American getting in trouble. Have you experienced any of that yourself, or you witnessed it?
Oh, I've definitely had people where, they get offended. They tell the club they have issues. You'll hear from the club afterwards. Not as much because I tend to work for people who have known me for 20 years now, 18 years now. And I kind of got into it in, the very early 2000s where it was still, at least for me, I didn't come from a culture where politically correct mattered. I didn't come from that's when you were on Tough Crowd. Half an Hour Presents were Patrice Giraldo, all you guys.
Right.
So really that wasn't the culture. So when I was doing it, that's kind of what everybody did. And now I don't know what's happened because yes, there's always somebody who's going to get offended. And it did start on college campuses. Like there was a time where, especially when you're 22, 23, they'll book you in colleges everywhere. And I was doing great because they were like-minded. But all of a sudden, when I was getting closer to 30, I was pissing people off. I remember one time a woman stood up and was like, I made a joke about Hitler. And she's like, I'm trying to eat lunch. I don't need to be hearing about any Hitler. And I'm like, I don't want to really be performing in a lunchroom. And I started making fun of her. And then 10 other students came up and started booing me and protesting. And then I had to be escorted out of a back entrance and to my car by security. And this is probably 12 years ago. And that's when I first noticed okay, well, these colleges are starting to change a little bit because it wasn't really my generation. It was the one under me that had phones and had in their internet and had, it was just that because there's such a difference between even my age group and people 5 years younger than me just because of the internet and just because of what they had access to. So I noticed that change pretty rapidly. And now, fortunately, because of Anthony and Crowder and people that come out to the show, the majority of the people know what I'm going to do.
That's right. Right.
And that's the benefit. But you're always now I'm always worried, but I'm always aware that somebody's going to get pissed off.
Yeah. Yeah. I made a joke. I saw an ad for it was the Special Olympics or whatever, and they had a Down syndrome kid giving the finger, cocky. A kid with Down syndrome giving the finger. Of course, I had to tweet something about, whatever. I'm sure it wasn't very nice, but it was. The tweet, the essence of it was blaming the people who staged the photo, and using this kid as he's just like you, whatever the fuck. So I made some crack about it, and then fucking, some guy was threatening me to the point where I had to talk to the fucking FBI twice.
Are you serious?
Yes. And I'm going. Other than that, I've been lucky, man, because I think I sort of, like you said, with Tough Crowd, I put that shit out there. That was 20 years ago. I was saying shit like that, and somehow Colin was genius enough for us to get away with it. But people sort of knew it was a kind of a bittersweet thing. It helped me. It gave me this real, they knew who I was because of me and Patrice and our racial views. But it also hurt me with, you get a lot of auditions that you might not even know they said no to you. You might have been brought up in a meeting, and then they're like, no, have you gone to his...
Have you seen this episode? Have you done that? Yeah, of course.
Did you hear him roasting Artie Lang on Howard Stern? Did you?
Yeah.
I like the lady, though, what you just said. I don't want to hear about Hitler. I'm eating. What are you fucking eating? Fucking sauerkraut and fucking Jew blood? What? Sauerkraut and Jew blood.
Is he sincere about this?
Yeah, exactly. He must. Oh, my God. I got the perfect Christmas gift idea for you. Head over to nickdip.com to get exclusive hats, T-shirts, hoodies, and more. They're a great gift for any listener, and it's yet another way for you to support the show and free speech. You can also get signed copies of my previous specials and all the Nicka shirts. Just go to nickdip.com and click on the store button. Again, that's nickdip.com. Click on the store button, and thank you guys so much.
It's just somehow comics though became like I don't understand. There's a microphone in front of you, or on stage, and you're making jokes. Roasts have been huge. I don't understand where the disconnect is, where any of that should be taken seriously or as actual speech.
Right.
I'll never get it. And yeah, I've had stuff where there was a girl who came to my show. It was in Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is very, very liberal, but the club there is fantastic. But the owner comes up to me and goes, "There's a reporter for the U of M paper here." And I go, "Oh, good. So I'm already racist." And I hadn't even gone on stage.
That's
yet.
not the Castle, right? It's not the Comedy Castle. No.
No. Comedy Castle's great. That's in Royal Oak.
Royal Oak. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. This one's the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase, which is a great room too, but it was for the University of Michigan newspaper. So I'm like, okay. So I get on stage and I see her in the front row, and her article, of course, because I made a joke, Dearborn, Michigan's there. It's very highly Muslim. And I did a joke about living in New York. And I said, we went to the World Trade Center. And my friend goes, "You think this could happen in Detroit?" And I was like, "Nah, Dearborn's there. They're not going to shit where they eat." and it's just like a really just low blow fun joke for the area, you know?
Great
and
joke.
so she immediately, writes the article about how, he's a very funny comic. And this is what I hated. It's like complimentary, but then also lets you know that I said all these racist things and at one point was misogynistic. And even what she cited as misogyny didn't really make any sense to me. So, but it was like she came there prepared for the article she was going to write. I knew the article she was going to write because I knew the bias of the campus, and it was exactly what it ended up. There was nothing I could have done to avoid it.
Right.
It's like they have their agenda, and there's no way to change their minds. Even before I walked on stage, that's why a lot of this just doesn't surprise me.
That's amazing, though, that they're actually complimentary in the article. I don't even get that. I hated this guy's face the minute he fucking walked to the microphone. That's how they start my article. He looks like the Italian kid who beat me up in third grade. Let it go, bitch. Anyways, they hate me.
It's like it.
And then
it's nice for the compliment, but the backhanded compliment is always just the most lovely thing. Oh, yeah. I did laugh, but he should be dead.
That is it, though. And it shows you how, like I said, how deep into their heads they are. And it's those scumbag Marxist professors and these cocksuckers that were hippies, now making tons of money running colleges. It's a big racket. It's really, the whole system needs a douching from networks, from big tech. Especially academia. They got their claws into all the major institutions, and now it feels like, it really feels like they have a grasp. I don't know where it's going. But anyways, David, I appreciate you taking the time, brother. This guy's as funny as anybody you'll see. You got any gigs you want to plug? Any colleges where you'll be thrown out?
Yes. I'll be at the University of Michigan for 4 minutes coming up in April. This New Year's Eve, I'll be at the Funny Bone in Toledo, actually. So yeah, if anybody wants to come out to Toledo, that's I know you don't want to. So, but if you happen to live there and you want to go to a show, come out to the Toledo Funny Bone. I'm
telling you guys, if you have a Learjet or a helicopter, fly into Toledo. It's going to be well worth the goddamn while. Yeah, and by the way, we get paid pretty good. Although I haven't worked on New Year's in fucking, I don't know. One club wanted me to be on stage at midnight. I said, "Kiss my ass," and the guy said, "Okay, you can go home."
I wouldn't if I was you either.
Yeah. You don't want me ringing in the New Year. I only had one good bit about New Year's. I go, "Why do people get excited about New Year's Eve?" I go, "Why are you celebrating a year that's yet to happen?" And I would say, "How do you know it's not going to say?" I said, "I'm pretty sure somebody just died." It was somebody famous like Chris. I go, "I'm pretty sure Chris Farley was in a good mood a year ago today." with his noisemaker and shit. You know, fucking. It was one of those uplifting jokes. That would be my opening. And
Yes.
But so go see him. Toledo. What was the club again? Toledo.
Funny Bone.
Funny Bone, Toledo. Yeah, thanks, David, very much for doing this, man. And
Thank you. I appreciate you, man.
And same here. We'll see you on Crowder. Crowder wants me to do something Christmas list thing that I did last year. So
Cool.
Hopefully I'll pop on there. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, sir.
All right, have a good Kwanzaa. All right. Again, thanks to Dave Landau. Very funny dude. That is it for the day, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget cameo.com. If you want me to roast a friend or relative, go to cameo.com. You guys think it, I will say it. You're very welcome. See you back here tomorrow. Have a good day.
Hi, good night, everybody.